Entire regions of Europe, once bustling with life and opportunity, are now witnessing a dramatic wave of people being forced out. Immigrants who once found refuge in historic cities and peaceful countryside are now being sent back in record numbers. Governments across the continent are tightening their grip, implementing extreme measures to deport thousands. But why is this happening? Is it political pressure? Economic downturns? Or is there something even more shocking behind these mass expulsions? In this video, we reveal the top 10 European countries deporting immigrants in 2025, backed by jaw-dropping numbers, extreme policies, and some unexpected names on the list. One country, in particular, is leading the charge in ways that no one saw coming. Stay tuned, because these shifting immigration trends are sparking global outrage, and you won't believe which country ranks 1. 10. Bulgaria, the silent fortress against migrants. Would you believe that one European country expelled over 51,000 immigrants in a single year? Bulgaria, a country known for its rich history and breathtaking landscapes, has now become one of Europe's most aggressive enforcers of deportation policies, yet few people are talking about it. In 2024 alone, Bulgaria blocked over 53,000 migrants from entering via its border with Turkey. But this wasn't just about voluntary departures. Reports reveal that many migrants faced brutal force, immediate expulsion, and no legal recourse. Human rights organizations have raised alarms, accusing Bulgaria of violating international laws. For those who manage to enter, life is far from easy. Refugee camps are overcrowded, legal residency is nearly impossible, and many migrants face hostility from both the government and locals. Ironically, Bulgaria itself is struggling with a declining population, as many of its own citizens leave in search of better opportunities abroad. But instead of integrating migrants, the government is doubling down on deportations, trapping thousands in a cycle of displacement with no way forward. And Bulgaria isn't alone. Let's move to another country ramping up its deportation efforts. 9. France, mass deportations in major cities. Can you guess which European country ordered over 31,000 deportations in just 3 months? You might think of France as a land of culture, diversity, and opportunity. But in 2024, it became one of the toughest enforcers of immigration laws. If you thought France was welcoming, think again, because thousands are being forced out, and the numbers are climbing. Between July and September 2024, France issued an astonishing 30,500 deportation orders, forcibly removing over 4,300 people. The government justifies this crackdown as a necessary step against illegal immigration and security threats. But critics argue that it's nothing more than a political move to gain support from nationalist voters. How are these deportations carried out? 1. Dawn raids. 2. Mass detentions. 3. Flights packed with deportees. And here's the shocking part. It's not just undocumented migrants being targeted. Even individuals with pending asylum applications, and those who have lived, worked, and paid taxes in France for years, are suddenly at risk of expulsion. With new residency laws becoming stricter, even minor infractions can result in immediate deportation. But France isn't the only country taking drastic measures. 8. Germany, the unexpected crackdown on immigrants. Did you ever think Germany was a safe haven for immigrants? Think again. In just 3 months, Germany ordered the removal of over 13,500 people, and thousands have already been deported. But why the sudden shift? For years, Germany was known as the land of opportunity, welcoming refugees, skilled workers, and those seeking a fresh start. But in 2024, everything changed. The government tightened its grip on immigration policies, targeting 1. Failed asylum seekers. 2. Undocumented workers. 3. Long-term residents with minor legal issues. One of the most shocking aspects? Charter flights packed with deportees, people who, in many cases, were given little to no notice before being sent back to the countries they left years ago. Germany's message is clear: stay legally, or don't stay at all. 7. Spain, migrants abandoned at sea. Spain, long considered a safe haven for immigrants, is now taking one of the harshest stances on immigration in its history. In just 3 months, Spain issued over 13,800 deportation orders, removing more than 3,200 people. But the most shocking revelation? Reports claim that Spanish authorities are forcing migrants back to North Africa at sea, without giving them any opportunity to apply for asylum. International watchdogs have condemned Spain's actions, calling them serious violations of international law. But the government remains firm in its decision, stating that illegal crossings will no longer be tolerated. As Spain tightens its borders and increases deportations, entire communities are being uprooted overnight. Families are being torn apart, businesses are losing workers, and thousands of immigrants now live in constant fear of being sent back. And if you think this is bad, wait until you hear what's happening in Greece. 6. Greece, the relentless border crackdown. Did you know that Greece has been accused of pushing back thousands of migrants illegally? For decades, Greece has been an entry point for asylum seekers escaping war and poverty. But in 2025, the country has intensified its deportation efforts, with over 15,000 migrants expelled in just a few months. Reports reveal that Greek authorities are conducting violent pushbacks at sea, leaving migrants stranded or sending them back to Turkey without processing their asylum requests. These actions have sparked international outrage, with human rights organizations condemning Greece for violating international refugee laws. The government, however, stands firm. Officials claim that illegal crossings must stop and that the country can no longer bear the burden of hosting large numbers of asylum seekers. They've even expanded detention centers, making it nearly impossible for undocumented migrants to stay undetected. As tensions rise, protests are breaking out across Greece, with some locals demanding stricter policies and others calling for humanitarian action. One thing is clear: Greece is closing its doors faster than ever before. 5. Italy, the mass expulsions no one expected. Italy, a country famous for its rich culture, history, and welcoming spirit, is now taking a hard-line stance against immigrants. Between July and September 2024, Italy issued over 14,800 deportation orders, forcing 3,700 migrants to leave. But the most shocking part? Italy has signed agreements with multiple African nations to deport asylum seekers at record speeds. Here's what's happening. 1. Charter flights filled with deportees are leaving weekly. 2. Refugee camps are being dismantled. 3. Thousands of asylum requests are being denied within days. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's government argues that Italy can no longer handle the influx of illegal migrants and that deportations are necessary to protect national security and the economy. But not everyone agrees. Italian activists argue that many deportees have lived in Italy for years, some with jobs and families, only to be suddenly forced out. As Italy tightens its borders and speeds up deportations, thousands of immigrants are now left in limbo, unsure if they'll be next to go. 4. Sweden, the unexpected shift towards mass deportations. Would you have guessed that Sweden, known for its progressive values, is ramping up deportations at an alarming rate? Sweden has long been a top destination for immigrants, particularly refugees fleeing war zones. But 2025 has marked a turning point, as the Swedish government dramatically increases deportations. With over 20,000 migrants expelled in just 6 months, Sweden's policies have shocked many. What changed? 1. Tougher immigration laws now make it easier to revoke residency permits. 2. Stricter work permit regulations are forcing thousands of skilled workers to leave. 3. Mass police operations are targeting undocumented migrants across major cities. Even asylum seekers who arrived legally and have lived in Sweden for years are now facing deportation due to policy changes. The government justifies this by saying that integration has failed, leading to rising crime rates and economic strain. But is this crackdown really about security, or is it just a political move to satisfy growing nationalist sentiment? 3. Austria, the deportation capital of Central Europe. Austria is making headlines for its aggressive deportation policies, with over 23,000 migrants forced to leave in 2024 alone. Despite being a small country, Austria has become one of Europe's strictest enforcers of immigration laws. Police raids, detention centers, and quick deportation processes are now the norm. Even immigrants who have lived in Austria for years, some even born there, are being targeted. One major factor driving this crackdown is political pressure from the far right. The Austrian government argues that immigration has contributed to 1. Higher crime rates. 2. Increased unemployment. 3. Struggles with cultural integration. As a result, Austria is rapidly reducing its foreign-born population, sending thousands back to their home countries. Critics, however, claim that many deportations violate basic human rights, as some migrants are sent back to war-torn or unsafe regions. With the government showing no signs of slowing down, Austria is now being called one of the most ruthless deportees in Europe. 2. The Netherlands, the silent but deadly deportation machine. Would you believe that the Netherlands has one of the most efficient deportation systems in Europe? Often seen as a progressive country, the Netherlands has actually been quietly expelling thousands of immigrants at record speed. In 2024, authorities carried out over 25,000 deportations, and that number is only growing. What's unique about the Netherlands' approach? 1. High-tech surveillance makes it nearly impossible for undocumented immigrants to stay hidden. 2. Fast-track deportation courts process cases within days, leaving migrants no time to appeal. 3. Harsh new residency laws mean even minor infractions can lead to immediate deportation. Shockingly, even skilled workers and legal residents are finding themselves at risk due to new visa policies. Many who thought they had a secure future in the Netherlands are now being forced out with little warning. The Dutch government insists that these measures are necessary to protect the economy and national identity. But with entire immigrant communities disappearing overnight, critics say the Netherlands is prioritizing nationalism over humanity. If you thought this was bad, just wait until you see which country ranks 1. United Kingdom, the most aggressive deportation policy in Europe. At number 1, the United Kingdom is leading the way in mass deportations, and it's happening at a shocking rate. Since Brexit, the UK has implemented some of the harshest immigration policies in its history. In 2024 alone, the government deported over 30,000 people, with thousands more currently awaiting removal. Why is the UK expelling so many immigrants? 1. The controversial Rwanda plan. Migrants are now being deported to Rwanda, regardless of where they originally came from. 2. Tougher asylum laws. Even refugees fleeing war zones are denied entry. 3. Mass arrests. Immigration raids are happening daily, targeting undocumented workers and overstayed visas. Perhaps the most shocking part? Some of these deportations involve British-born children whose parents lack legal status. Entire families are being split apart, sent to countries they've never even lived in. The UK government argues that strict immigration policies are necessary to control the economy and reduce illegal crossings. But international organizations have called these policies inhumane, warning that the UK is setting a dangerous precedent for Europe. With deportations at an all-time high, the question remains: will the UK's extreme stance on immigration inspire other nations to follow? Final thoughts. Europe's immigration crisis is reaching a breaking point. With governments across the continent ramping up deportations, entire communities are being torn apart. Is this a necessary move to protect national interests, or is it a human rights disaster in the making? Which country on this list surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth global updates.